Alright, so for this particular video demonstration, we'll be looking at creating a class project in Visual Studio 2022. I'm going to take, the first approach I'm going to take is to create a blank solution and then create our class project from that. And then the second approach I'm going to take is to just create a console application and then add a new class file to that. So the first one should be the longer version of things in terms of creating a blank solution and then creating the class. Right, so let me stop my monologue and get right into it. So I'm going to bring up my Visual Studio 2022. Right, it's here on screen. Alright, so I'm going to click on create a new project. Then I'm going to search for blank solution, or you could just type blank. So I'll go with blank solution. Alright, so where it says blank solution, create an empty solution containing no projects, that's the one I'm going to go with. Click on that and then next. I'm now going to give my solution a name, so I'm going to call it my class solution. Alright, the location is set already, so I'll leave that as is and then click on create. Alright, now once that is done, you realize that it created a blank solution for us. So if you go over to the Solution Explorer here, if you're following my mouse, so if you go over to the Solution Explorer, you'll see the solution and the solution name, right? But no project is there as yet, so it says 0 projects. Alright, so next I'm going to right click on the solution, go to add new project. Now the project I'm going to add is a class library, right? So we can search for class or class library, but if I type in class, you realize that it says class library here. This is using C#, and this is using the .NET or .NET standard. That's the one I'm going to use. But if you want, you could use the one that says class library .NET framework. I'm going to go to the top option here, so I'm going to click on that and then go next. Alright, so here I'm going to give my new project a name. Alright, so what I'm going to be using to pretty much demonstrate this, I'm going to create a simple program that calculates the area of a triangle. So with that being said, I'm going to call my new project my triangle proj. Alright, so I'm going to call it my triangle proj. Again, location is set. Click on next. And I did select the .NET. Alright, so we're using .NET 6 here. So I'm going to click on create. If you had selected .NET Framework, then you would have seen the latest version of the .NET Framework. But this is more or less us using .NET 6, .NET Core. Now this will create a project for us, and it should contain a default class file. Alright, so it created a class for us called class 1. But I'm not going to be using this particular class. So again, if you follow my mouse over to the Solution Explorer, you should see class1.cs. I'm going to right click on this class1.cs file, go to delete and get rid of it. So we will be creating a class of our own. So it is asking us to confirm that we want to delete. We know it will be gone permanently, so we'll click on OK. Alright, now what I'll be doing, I'm going to be adding a class of our own naming to this particular project. So I'm going to right click on the project, and again the project is called My Triangle Proj. So I'm going to right click on this right here, go to add. You can go to add new item, or you can go to add then new item, or add on class. But if it's your first time, right, so let's say it's your first time doing this, so we're going to right click on the project name, go to add then new item, and the new item that we want to add is a class. So we're going to ensure that class is selected, and I'm going to name this class Triangle. All right. Right, that's the name of our class, and we're going to click on add, and it created a triangle for us. Notice that the default access specifier is internal. Now we will come back to this in a few minutes. All right, so this is our class that was created, our triangle class to be specific. Alright, now the next thing we want to do is I'm going to add another project to this particular solution. So your solution can contain many projects, multiple projects with multiple other files, class files, and so forth. So I'm going to add another project to this particular solution, and the new project that I'll be adding, it will be storing a file that contains the static void main. And again, if you remember anything about C# is that, or if you know anything about C#, you know that the static void main is the execution point, or some persons refer to it as the entry point, but it's really the execution point that your C# program uses to execute your program that you write in C#. And other languages uses the main method as well. You know, so if you think about Java, it uses the main method as well as the execution point. If you think about C++, it uses the main method as well as the execution point. So with that being said, follow my mouse again. I'm going to go to the solution. I'm going to right click on the solution. We're going to go to add, and we're going to add a new project. This time around, we'll be adding a console application. Now, luckily for me, it's at the top here. But if it's not at the top for you, you can just search, type in the search, console, right? And you can decide to use console app that uses the .NET. That makes it a little bit more cross-platform, where it uses the .NET on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Or you can go with the version that runs on Windows only. I'm going to go with the cross-platform option, which is the top one. So I'm going to click on console app, then next, and I'm going to give this project a name. I'm going to call it my PROJ app, my Proj app. Again, the location is set, so that is fine. We can click on next. Now, something I'm going to do is I'm going to check where it says do not use top level statements. Now, if you are familiar with top level statements, it's a fairly new addition to the C# language, or to the .NET standards. All right, where if you decide to use top level statements, it will not explicitly list or it will not explicitly state the namespace, or it will not explicitly state the static void main, or it will not explicitly state the main method. Those will be generated when it is being compiled. I want us to see the namespace, the static void main method, so I'm going to check where it says do not use top level statements. Right. And again, if top level statements are not too clear to you, then Microsoft documentation, it has a very clear explanation of what it is all about. So I'd recommend that. So we're going to check do not use top level statements, and then create. All right, and then this new program class is created for us. As you can see, it has our static void main method, and it states what the namespace is. All right. Now, just to quickly highlight something, again, if you can follow my mouse over to the Solution Explorer, we now have two projects in our solution. So we have one project that is called My Proj App, which is where we can find this program.cs file right here. This is where we can find this file right here. And then there's another project called My Triangle Proj, and that is where you can find the triangle class. Right? So the triangle class is here in that project. So the triangle class is here, and the program class is here. Now what I want to do is to make an association, or basically find a way to include the triangle class in the program class here, or at least make a reference to it. Now the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to add a dependency, or I'm going to add this project with the triangle class as a dependency in this project. So I'm going to go over to my Solution Explorer again, where it says My Proj App, which is this one right here. Right below that, you'll see dependencies. I'm going to right click on dependencies. I think it depends on your version of Visual Studio 2022. You might be seeing references, but I recently updated my Visual Studio 2022 and I'm seeing dependencies. So I'm going to right click on the dependencies. I'm going to go to Add Project Reference. Right, and I want to make a reference to the project that is storing the triangle class, and that project is called My Triangle Proj. So I'm going to click the checkbox, click on OK, and if I should click the drop down beside dependencies, you'll realize that the project folder is here, so we can expand that, and you're now seeing the My Triangle Proj being added to our My Proj app. Right, so now we can utilize the triangle class within this program class. Alright, so in our program.cs file, which is our program class, right, we are going to include the project with the triangle class, and the way that we're going to be doing this is by adding using system and specify that we want to add my triangle PROJ. Alright, just ensure that the spelling here is the same as what is here. Alright, so just ensure that the spelling is the same. I'm just going to copy and paste it over. It looks to be the same, but just to be on the safe side. Alright, so now with this using directive here, it is now granting access to the program class. So it is now giving the program class access to the triangle class. So to see if the access is actually there, what I'm going to do is, within our main method, I'm going to create an object for the triangle class. So I'm going to say and let's say T1. So that's the name of the object. T1 is the name of the object, equal it should be equal new Alright, so it's making reference to it by saying my triangle proj dot triangle, but I don't want it like that. I'm going to keep it as that. Alright, that should be fine. Alright, now we have two errors here, and it is related to the fact that the triangle class is inaccessible. Now the reason for that is if we go back to the triangle class, the access specifier on the triangle class is internal. Alright, so we're going to change that from internal to public, and that should solve the problem. Alright, now go back to the program.cs and you realize that those errors are gone. Alright, now I'm going to actually put some code inside the triangle class to actually calculate the area of the triangle, because that's what I said that we'll be doing. So let's do that quickly. Alright, so let's make some private attributes. So let's say private double. I'm going to just do the shorthand thing here and say B for base, and then do a private double H for height, and then do a private A to store the area, and then I'm going to create a method. So I'm going to call this method area. So we're going to do public, and then we're going to make this double, so the return type is double, and we're going to say area, and for the parameter of our area method, I'm going to pass the base, and we're going to take as well the height. Alright, let's add some curly brackets here. Alright, so we're going to do a return, and we need this return keyword because our return type is a type other than void, so we must show that we are returning something. So I'm going to return the calculation of the area. So we're going to say A is equal to half base, so half times base times height, and that should be fine. Alright, so that's our calculation there. So I'm going to go back now to the program class or the program.cs file where our main method is. Now I'm going to say double, and let's just say answer is equal to, and I'm going to use this object to call the area method. So I'm going to say t1 dot area, and I'm going to pass some values. So I'm going to pass 4 as the base and 6 as the height. Alright, and let's now display what the answer will be. So here I'm going to say area is, and then let's pass the value. Alright, so we're going to pass whatever is being stored inside here, right? And pretty much that is it. So I'm going to run this now just to see if it works. Now I'm going to run it, and so we can see if it works. There's a reason why I said that twice. Right, so I'm going to run without debug. All right, now this message is a typical message that most persons get when they try to run the program. Set it up and run it the way that we did. Now, what this is saying to us is that it's not finding an executable for our project. Now, how C# does its thing is that it creates what we call assemblies. Now, in the most case, an assembly is either your exe file or a DLL file. Now, the simplest solution, or the simple solution here, is to state what we want to be our startup project. All right, remember we have two projects, so we now need to state which one is our startup project. All right, so I'm going to click OK. The first project we created is the one that is storing the triangle class, and the second project that we created is the one storing the program class, which also has the main method. And as you know, the main method is the execution point. So we now need to set this project with the main method as the startup project. So I'm going to go to the My Project app over in our Solution Explorer. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to go down to where it says Set as Startup Project. Click on that. And we should be good to go now. So we can try this again just to see if it actually works now. Alright, so something is happening. Hopefully it will display the area for us. And as you can see, it did display the area for us. So the issue with the last pop-up message that we were getting is that we just needed to specify which project is our startup project so the program can be executed properly, and your startup project should be the one that contains your main method. Alright, so that's one way of creating a class. So we created a blank project, added some class to it. Now there's another way of doing it, and I will show you that one in the next demo video. Alright, so you can try this out, see if it works for you. Hopefully I wasn't moving too fast. If I was, then you can slow things down, and by going back through the parts that you would have missed. Alright, so I'll add the other solution to another demo video because I don't want to make this too drawn out. Alright.